morning, everybody. Good morning, or good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are joining us from. This is the fourth class. Am I right? The third class in the Textiles Code 5, and we have been learning how to build with the Microsoft Power Platform. So the first class which I took, we looked at introduction into the Power Platform, how you can start building with Power Platform. We looked at several components in the Power Platform space. We looked at all the different components and what you can use them to build. All right. So my name is Amalola Alfred. I am an MVP in the business applications space. At work, I lead a team where we use Microsoft Power Platform to build solutions for different organizations. All right. So in the last two classes, Carolina taught us how to model a database, right, using Dataverse. So we learned how to create a database with Dataverse, and we use that database that we have created to build a model-driven application. So building on that, today I'm going to show us how to build a Canvas application, right? So when Carolina was teaching the last week, especially last week, she mentioned that we have two different types of applications that you can build in using Power Apps. So one of it is model-driven application that she has taught. Another of it is Canvas app. One of the beautiful things that she actually mentioned last week was when you're using or when you're building with model-driven application, you can only use a type of database. If you know it, put in the comment section the name of the database that you can use with model-driven application. You can only use one type of database with model-driven application, and she mentioned it. All right. So building with Canvas app, you can build with different kinds of databases, right? You can use the Dataverse that she has taught us. You can build with SharePoint, right? So because we now know how to build with Dataverse, today I'm going to show us quickly how to build with SharePoint. All right. So we will look at what Canvas App Studio looks like. We are going to build SharePoint tables, right? Just similar to the ways we build tables in Dataverse. We'll build tables in SharePoint, but it's going to be different, right? You see what SharePoint looks like. It's its own list, basically. SharePoint is not a database, but we can use list to store data. Remember that a database is just a place where you store data. All right. Another thing that we'll be looking at today is controls in Canvas app. You look at PowerFX. During our last class, I know that I shared a link from my YouTube channel that introduces you to Canvas App Studio. I hope that we have looked at this Canvas App Studio link, because today we'll just brush through. All right. And somebody also asked me during the first class now what PowerFX is, and we will be looking at that today. So we'll save the app that we have built, and we will be able to share this app with people in our tenant. By now, I know we understand what tenant is. All right. So now, when Carolina taught us last week, she taught us how to build an attendance application with model-driven application. So that's what we're going to do also, but this time with Canvas app. So you'll be able to see the difference, right? So we're building an application that is meant to take up our attendance, right? Our attendance for what? For Textiles Code 5. All right. Now, next week will be another interesting class. Okay. So for everything you've been able to learn, first class again, we learned the whole Microsoft Power Platform, different kind of component, right? The following week, you learned about one of the components, which is Dataverse, how to model your data with this database, right? Then the next class, you were able to build on top of that knowledge, and you built an attendance app with model-driven applications. So now today, we'll quickly go to SharePoint. We'll build our database, right? Just the same way we did with Dataverse. We'll build a list where we can store our data on SharePoint. Then on top of that, we will now build our Canvas application. All right, we'll build a Canvas app, which is going to be an attendance application on our SharePoint list. But for next class, we are going to automate this, right? So you're going to have another trainer come up to teach you how to automate your application. So it becomes an automated application. That is what companies would hire you to come and do. They will hire you to come and build an automated solution. So everything I have taught you, Carolina has taught you, back up with what you will learn next week, would sum up your knowledge of building an automated solution. All right. So let's delve into it. This is okay. Do I have anything in the chat? Nothing yet in the chat. Please let us use the chat. Let me know if you can type in the chat. Use the chat to. I asked the question earlier. I asked us what is the name of the database that Carolina taught us last week, that's the only database that we can use for model-driven application. So what's the name of that database? Put in the chat. So now we are going on to build our database using SharePoint. So what I've done is, this is my tenant. You know what tenant is. So for everybody that filled the attendance sheet, I've been given a tenant, right? We've been given a tenant. So we all have a tenant of our own. So this is my own tenant. This is where I build things. If I want to test anything, or I want to build a project for myself, I want to learn, this is where I build it. Okay, so what did I say we are doing? I said we are going to learn how to build a list, a SharePoint list, and that is where we're going to put all our data, right? So quickly, you just go to SharePoint. Notice what I did. Let me go back. So I came here under youroffice.com. On your tenant, you would look for SharePoint. So for SharePoint, we have, okay, so it's still loading. All right, so SharePoint has sites and it has lists. So I'm just going to go ahead to show us how to build a list. So I already have sites that I've created here. I have different sites that I've created here, and I'm just going to choose one of them. And under this, I am going to create a list. So this is my site. If I come to new here, I'll see a list and I'll create a list. So now we are going to name our list. So there are different kinds of lists that you can create. You can create a list from an existing list. You can create a list from an Excel. You can create a list from CSV. But what we're going to learn today is how to create a blank list. So I want to build an attendance application. I want to create a list. Once you click on new, you come here and you select blank list. Now put a name. Give your list a name. So I like to always check out this showing site navigation because I don't want it showing here. You can see how all of this is being shown here. I don't want to show in here, so I'll just give it a name. So the first list that we're going to create is the mentors list, just the same way we did with database, right? The mentors list. So description, this list stores the name of the mentors in textilers court. All right. So this list doesn't. So this is the description. He explains to you what this list is all about, and you'd go ahead and create it. So once your list has been created, you have different kind of data types, right? So title automatically comes up as a required field. I'm sure you looked at that when you were looking at how to model data, right, with Dataverse. So one of the ways to work on this first is, once you create your list, one of the things that you see is title comes automatically, right? So I don't like using the title. So one of the things I will just do is I'll click on this gear button. I'll go to list settings, right? And you can see that the list we are currently working on is our mentors list, right? That we just created. Okay. So if I come here, I can see my list. I can see what is required and what is not required. So my title list, my title column is actually not required. It's a single line of text and is not required. All right. So that's what we want to check. We want to check if it's required or not required. Okay. So if you come here, you see required that this column contains information. No, it is not required. So formally, once you create a list like that, it always comes as required. So we'll go back to our list. I'm just going back. So this is what the list looks like. And you can also come here to column sets and you can rename it, or you can hide the column. All right, so before we hide the column, let's create several columns. Now, one of the things you would want to create, if you say add column, right, you would want to create, you can create a person field, you can create just text. So let me quickly explain all of this. What does text mean? So when you are creating your database, right, there's something called data type. It means that you need to define the kind of data that will sit inside these columns. So for text, it means that the kind of data, right, that you would input into this column from your Power Apps would only be of type text. All right, of type text. You will see that in action once we go in there. For choice, it means that there will be several options, like bullet options. You will see when you want to create a form, and you will see several options. You can select, for instance, maybe a questionnaire. You can select A, B, C, right? So that is choice. That's a type of data, is a data type choice. Date and time. It means that in this particular column, you can only store date and time in there. Multi-lines of text is, so for text has a limit of what that can sit inside it. But for multi-line of text, it means that you can actually put in more words, right? More sentences if you want to. For instance, if I want to just take the name of a person, I can use text. Right. If I want to get their address, I can use multi-lines of text, because you can have several words. Somebody's address can be number 10, something, so they might be so long, right? Then person's field. Now, for this particular person's field, he gets the name, the information, and every other thing that describes that person, but the person must be on your tenant. Right. So for your tenants, you can add people. For instance, in an organization, you will notice that once you join an organization, or if you're looking for a job and you want to send an email to somebody, you will see that the email most times is like omolola@textilers.com, omolola@mtn.com, omolola@ whatever name of the company. So it means that Omolola is a member in a particular tenant, which is, for instance, if it's omolola@mtn.com, is that MTN is my tenant. There are several staff in MTN, and they are sharing that tenant, right? They all have that email that carries MTN, that carries Textilers. Okay, so if you use person's field, only the people that have that email at mtn.com, they would be the ones that you'll be able to just, so it's going to be like a drop down where you'll be able to see all the name of the people in that tenant if you use a person field. So once you're not the one that will type the name. So for text, it collects an information, right, of type text. Choice, you select an information. Date and time, you pick a date and time. Multi-lines of text, you're putting in information. But for persons field, it will show you all the people that are in that tenant, all right? So if that person is not in that tenant, that person does not have an email, their name will not come out from this person field, okay? So for number, the kind of data that you'll be able to put in that column is of type number. Yes and no, you'll be able to put yes and no, and so on and so forth. So for now, we're going to just select type text. Now, if I'm building for an organization, depending on the use case. So now, mentors in Textilers, they have Textilers email, right? They have, for instance, I have omolola@textilers.com. I can decide to use person and say that I will just select all these people because they are already in that tenant. But for the sake of this training, I'm just going to use type text, all right? It will ask me what is the name of this column that I want to create. So I'll just say mentor's name. Okay. So most times when I'm creating this, I don't like putting space. So I can, once I get into my Power Apps, I can manipulate this particular column and put space however I like, right? But I don't put space. So you can use different kind of writing technique when you are developing. So for this particular one, this is Pascal. You can use Pascal, you can use camel case. Pascal basically means that the first letter is capital, then the next one is also capital, but there's no space in it. All right, so this is Pascal. Mentor's name. I can just leave the description. You can see type. So the data type is a single line of text, right? I just want them to put their name, and I'll save this. Okay. So we can just have the name. If we need to add any other thing to the mentors, you can select it. You can later come and edit all of this, right? But for now, we just want to add the name of our mentor, okay? Mentor's name. And that is all that we have currently for this particular list. So for this one, we want our list to be very neat. So we'll just come here and hide this column. So for the mentors list, we have mentors name. Make it bigger. How did I make it bigger? In case you ask. If you come here, you will see this line and just make it as big as you want it. So for this one, we have just mentor's name, right? So we'll come back to the site, Omolola. Remember, my site is Omolola. If I select it, it takes me back. Click on new again, and I'll create another list, okay? So for this list, I will name it student list. So name is so I can just say student list. So, we can say Textilers. I'm not putting space. Textilers students. Textilers student list. Let's just leave it like this. I don't want it to show in the site navigation, just the same way we created the last one. And I will create it. All right. So we have this again, Textilers student list. And here we have title again. So let's just go ahead and say text full name. Okay, it's type single line of text. Save. So now, what are the kind of information that you want to get from your students? So first, we can say single line of multiple lines of text. Next, for this, you say training expectations. So what are the expectations of the students? You want to see it. So training expectation. If you have any question, just put in the chat box so that I can take it. Training expectation. All right. You save that. So full name, training expectation, you probably want to get their email too. You want to get their email. I'm using of type text. Students email. You can just say email. However, if you're building for an organization where everybody is inside that organization, one of the things you can just do is you use your data type will be of type person, just like I said before, of type person, so that you see their full name, their email, you would have it already, right? Because it was already saved in that tenant when they were creating that user to be part of that tenant. All right. So you have email, single line of text. So what other kind of information would you want to get from a student? So we have full name, we have training expectation, we have email, we have so you might want to also know the level, right, of your students. Are they in the beginner stage? Are they in the, say, intermediate or expert, so that you will know the kind of people that you're teaching. This one, we're going to use choice. Remember that they can choose either beginner, intermediate, or expert. So we'll just say knowledge level. All right, knowledge level. And this is a choice. So this particular data type is of type choice, meaning that they can choose. So you say beginner, intermediate, expert. So we have 3 choices here. So you can add more. You can put, I'm not sure. Somebody might not be sure of their knowledge level. All right. Okay, I'm not sure. I don't want them to be able to add values manually. I want them to select any of these. Okay. And you can check more options to see what you have. You see, it's going to display as a drop-down menu. Allow multiple selections. No, I don't want somebody to tell me that they are a beginner and an expert at the same time, or they're an expert and they're not sure. All right, I want them to just select one and move on. Okay, so drop-down menu, yeah. I want it to display as a drop-down menu. And I'm going to save this. Okay. So I have knowledge, I have email, I have full name, I have training expectation, and I am going to hide this particular one. Let's see. Hide this column. Awesome. So now we have our TechSalas student list. We have mentors list, we have TechSalas student list. Now we need the attendance list. Remember, we want to be able to take attendance. So we'll go back again to Omolola and go to new list, blank list, TechSalas. Cohort 5. Attendance list. Okay, so you can make the name whatever you want to make it. You can say Power Apps or app development attendance list for cohort 5. Whatever you want to name it so that you understand it. So for some people, when they are developing, they don't want space, right? So you can also name it like this and put underscore, right? And put underscore if you're comfortable with that. Okay, so you know that I named some, not putting underscore. I named some, putting underscore. And you will see what it looks like when we start developing. All right, so create. Awesome. Now we have our attendance list. So what do you want to see in this attendance list? I want to see texts. So I want to see full name. Okay. I want to see full name. I want to see full name. I'll save this. I want to see the date and time. So for this one, I will just choose date, right? The day that you joined, that you attended the class. I want to just see the date. So, okay. Let's just say date. As simple as that. Full name, date. Include time? No, I don't want to include time really, but you can include time, but I'm not including time in this. And save. So I just want so for the attendance, I want your full name. I want to see the date. Column setting, I want to hide this column. So I have full name and dates. I can see the name of the people and the dates that they attended the class. If we need to edit this, we will do that as we go on. So now we have you notice we are not saving this, right? Once you just create it, it has created, it has automatically saved. So now in the Omolola tenant, if you come to where? All right, so you can check the list that you have. One sec. Okay, I'm not seeing it here, but let's go to okay. I'm trying to check the site contents. Okay, let's see my list. All right, so we can see the recent list that we just created. We can see mentors. That's one that we created. You see Omolola here, meaning that this is the site that you created it under. You can see Textiler student list. We just created it. See Textilers attendance list. We just created it. Okay. So the next thing that we want to do now is to open our Power Apps and let's start building. All right. So now this is a Canvas App Studio, and I am just going to go ahead. So you can see it says this is a developer environment and not meant for production. Like I said, I use this application, I use this tenant for developing applications for practice or what have you. So I have my default and I have my dev tenants, environment rather. Okay, so I can just choose any of it. And what I want to do now is I'll just go to create. Okay, so once you get to Power Apps, go to create and select blank app. Now under blank app, we have different applications. See blank Canvas app. This is blank app based on Dataverse. It's a model-driven application, what you were taught last week. But we want to create a Canvas app, so you select create, and now you name your app. So I'll just say app, yeah. App development attendance. All right, so we say app development attendance. We're using, so you can use tablet format or phone format, or depending on what you want to do basically. So I'm just going to use a tablet format, app development attendance, and I'll create it. So It's getting things ready. Depending on your internet, it can be faster than this. It can be slower than this. So now we have our app development attendance. This is our app. So one of the things I like to do before doing anything is I save my app first. Okay. So it's saving. Now I've saved it the first time. All right. And I have screens. So remember, one of the things we said we are going to be doing today is introduction to Canvas App Studio. You've seen what Canvas App Studio looks like. If you open the link or you have used the link that I sent the other time, it will explain to you different things that you have on the Canvas App Studio. So we have already done our SharePoint database. Now we are going into controls in Canvas App. Now, controls in Canvas App are objects, right? And you can get different controls from your insert. Now, the behavior of this control is dependent on your PowerFX, right? And that's what you see here. You see that I have controls in Canvas App and I have PowerFX. So PowerFX is used for manipulating your controls. Okay, and you're going to see them in action. Now, we said we are creating an application for attendance app. Here we have screens. So screens are like pages. Okay, when you open an application, it will show you a particular page first, right? You can, so for this first page, you can name it maybe your landing page. Means that once you come into this application, this is what they see. So I'll rename it from screen 1. I will name it landing page. Okay, and Power Apps is, or Canvas App majorly is what you see is what you get. For model-driven application that you did the other time, you don't design it. This one, we're going to design it and you see what it looks like, right? Another thing, you can also use different kind of templates. Okay, so for this one, I'm just going to design this, right? This is a beginner class. I'll just show you what is possible. All right. So one of the things that I like to do first is you can just change your color. Okay. So currently now this is white, and you can see for fill it is color.white. So you might be wondering, Lola, what is fill? What is color.white? Now remember that I told us that controls are they are objects, they are what we basically use to build our application. Yes. PowerFX are what we use to manipulate this control. So your screen is a control. All right. Your screen is a control, and these are ways that you can actually manipulate these controls. So properties are what enables you to actually manipulate the control. So you use PowerFX to manipulate controls, but each control has properties. Now, this screen is a control, right? You have renamed it to landing page. If you select this landing page and you come here, you will see different kind of property that the landing page has. The landing page has a background image. Okay. If you have a background image, now, for instance, you have an image that you have already put into this app, you can put it here. All right. It's a property. But first, one of the first properties that I want us to look at is the fill property. The fill property is how you actually add color to a screen. So color.white, I can just say color.blue, for instance, and there are different kinds of blue. See, blue violets, blurry blue. Let's just play around it and see what we have. This is a kind of blue. I don't like it. Let's look for something really light. So color dots. Yeah, we want blue. Something blue violet. What does it look like? Oh, this looks like purple. We want something bluish, but very mild. Let's say Alice blue. Okay, now we see that we have changed it from white to blue. What enabled us? Properties. What did we do? PowerFX. PowerFX is just like, like simple code, right? It can get very complex, right? But this is just a very simple PowerFX, that I want to change my color. I come to my fill property and I type in color.alice blue, and it has given me what? It has given me a very mild blue. Now, the next thing we want to do on this landing page is to add another what? Another control, right? So I go to see, I have my landing page selected. I go to insert and I can use a container. Now, container is a kind of control, right? Just my container. Now, in this container, if I drag it to the middle, I can add something inside my container. Like the name is, it's just a container, an empty container. There's nothing in there, but I want to add something inside my container. But before I add something inside my container, remember that every control has properties, right? Look at the landing page. The landing page now has container inside of it. Okay. See, if you close it, see, there's nothing. So your container is sitting inside of your landing page. So if you select the container, let's see the properties that the container has. Okay, the container has several properties. The container itself has a fill property. So let us work with the fill property also. So you can use, there are different ways that you can actually write your PowerFX inside your fill property. So you can put the RGBA. So RGBA is actually a color code, what gives you the kind of color. 4 zeros will give you black, right? You can just come online, go online and say RGBA for red, color red. It will show you. So the RGBA for color red is if I do 2550001, it will give you RGBA for color red. So I'm just telling you RGBA is a color code for different kind of colors. But simply we can just write color dot let's use Azure. What does Azure look like? Is another kind of blue? No. Let's just say color dot let's see, black, or let's say beige. You can see it's giving us another color entirely, right? Because this is the fill property. We are now we are playing with the fill property of the container, color.beige. So I can just make this bigger, right? This is my container, bigger, centralize it. Okay, and inside my container now, you can see the plus icon. Inside the container, I want to add something else. All right, I can add text inside my container, or let's look at another property that the container has. The container has visible property, different kind of properties, right? Drop shadow. I'll show us what drop shadow looks like, but first let's add something inside our container. We'll add text label inside our container, and for this text label we will put the name of the, we'll just put the name of the app that we're trying to build, right? To see attendance application. So attendance application, you can see is small. Now this text label, right, also has different properties. Remember that properties, you use formulas to manipulate properties. So inside your label, you come to properties, you can see different kind of properties. All right, you can see fonts. You change the kind of font. But another way to easily do it also, this is my label. If you come to properties here, this is properties pane here, you'll be able to just do all of this without typing PowerFX. So what am I saying? This is my label. This is the properties pane. First, I want to change the font. I want to change the font to Georgia, right? You can see the font has changed. Now, the font of my text, you need to know the control that you are manipulating. We are manipulating this control now. It's called label 1, but you can rename it just the same way I renamed this one. So I'm going to first rename my container 1. I'll rename it to title container. All right, because of our time, let's be fast. So title container. All right. For label 1, we'll just rename text container. Or yeah. So we have title container. Title label is a label. Title label. Okay. So we know that this is what we are manipulating right now. So our font is Georgia. We want to increase it, right? 40. Now it's bigger. Font weight, you might make it bold, because what are we trying to do? We are trying to do our title. This is the first thing they see when they come into our application. You might make it semi-bold, you might make it bold based on your preference. See bold, what bold looks like. See what semi-bold looks like. You can see what normal would look like. All right, so we can just choose semi-bold. And we want to centralize it. See text alignment. So these are all properties. You can also find them here. All right, these are all properties. You can see align. If you come here, align currently is aligned left, right? You can say align dot center. All right, it will be aligned to the center. If I also come here and I do this, right, it's back to left. So this, you can actually manipulate your controls from here. You can also manipulate them from here. But I'm showing us this, right, because we are just starting. This is a beginner class. We'll get to a point where you really need to write formulas, and I will show us. All right, so here we'll just align to the middle. So if you're not sure how to make a middle, I'll just make this text label the same size of the container. All right, awesome. So now this is perfect. Once anybody comes to our app, they will see attendance application, which is simple. Now, if you're developing for an organization, they will have their own color, right? And you can just design it based on that color code, that the color for that brand. For MTN, for instance, you could just use yellow and black, right? So this one we're using Alice Blue. We're using a kind of yellow, like beige. So let's move this container to the middle a little. All right, awesome. So now this is what we have. Another thing that I want us to quickly do, this our container, it has a particular kind of property called drop shadow. All right, drop shadow property. And you see what drop shadow can do. If you say bold, it has added a drop shadow to you. You see now the container is looking like this 3D effect is coming out of the screen, right? So again, I like to save. You're going to save your app. And we have attendance application, but that's all we have. Now, this is not yet taking our attendance. So what do we do? The next thing we are going to do is to add another screen, all right? A blank screen. And this screen, we can just name it menu, right? Rename menu. So once somebody comes to our app, they see attendance application, they see menu. Now for the menu, remember that for our list, we have mentors list, right? We have mentors list, we have student list, and we also have what? Attendance list. So when somebody comes, either they want to, maybe it's possible if you're coming newly, you might want to add to the mentors, you might want to add to the students, and you might want to add to or you might want to just fill an attendance, right? So what we are going to do, we are going to insert buttons here. Now, button is another control. Remember that now on this particular landing page, we've looked at some beautiful controls. Number one, your screen is a control, and we manipulated the screen using just color, right? The next thing that we added to this, if you open up, you will see we have a title container. So we have a container. Container is another control. And for the container, we changed the color. We also changed the color. We also use drop shadow for the container. So those are the properties that we manipulated under the container. Then we put in a title inside our container, right? And the text title, we manipulated it. It was showing us text before. We changed it to attendance application. Then the next thing we did was we moved it to the middle. We changed the font. We changed the font size and the font weight. All right. So the next thing that we are doing, we are adding another control, which is we named it menu control. All right. So inside this menu control, we want to first change the color. I don't want my app to be looking all white, right? So remember, we have been using color.white, but I can just try to use RGBA. Okay, so I know some color values, and as a beginner, you might not know this, but if you're very good with colors, or maybe you're a designer already, or what have you, you will know all these colors, or as you start. So for now, I'm just going to use 244, 244, 244, 1. All right, so it's not so whitish anymore, right? It's giving me this very soft color. So the next thing I'm going to put on my screen is buttons, right? So if you just type button, you see button here. So button. And as we go on, I'm going to tell you why we are adding button. So this class is going to extend a little bit above 1 hour because we are not just building an application. We first did our tables, right? And you remember for the previous classes that we've done, we had one class for database. We had another class for app development, but for this class we are doing the two together. So we've done our table, and now that's it was called table when you were doing database, but now we've done our list, right? For this one, we are now building a Canvas application. Okay, so we have our landing page, we have our menu, now we have buttons here. So one of the things I like to do, I can just, because I need 3 buttons, right? One for mentors, one for attendance, and another for the students. But what I'm just going to do simply, instead of going back to insert and adding another button, you can just copy and paste, right? So, or you can just duplicate at times. Okay, so this button, let me see what I can do. I can copy it and I can paste it. Copy, paste, right? You can also do Ctrl C, Ctrl V. Okay, so I have 3 buttons now. So remember, we rename our button. So let's start with this one. We'll rename this mentor button. So that when you are manipulating this particular button, you know the button you are manipulating. Rename this one to student button. You rename this particular one to attendance button. All right, so things about to get very interesting. Stay with me, okay? So we have mentor button, student button, and attendance button. Now, first, let's talk to our mentor button. So I'll just bring this here first. Okay, so we have our mentor button, right? I can make it bigger. So if you come to properties here, you can actually talk to size, okay? But I'll just make it bigger like this. Okay, I can just make it bigger like this. So I can make all of it as big. Okay. So what am I doing? I am just designing right now. I'm making it big. Okay, good. So this is my mentor button. I want to change it. So right now, the text. So remember that for each control, this is a control. This control is saying button. The text property is saying button. There are two ways to change it. Come to mentor button. I would go to my text. It says button, right? Inside. Now, when you are writing inside your PowerFX, there are ways to write it. Okay. So texts, you have to put your your this sign. I've forgotten the name right now. You have to put this sign, and in the middle, you just put in whatever name you want it to be. So I can just say mentor page. I say mentor. So you can go to text also for this particular student button, text property, manipulate it with your PowerFX and say students. Okay, then do the same thing for attendance. But for attendance, instead of you coming here, we can also do it here. For this one, we are not typing any kind of, we're not putting any sign. You just type it straight. The text you want to display, you say attendance. Now, like I said, Canvas app is what you see, what you put there. That's exactly what you're going to see. So if you're very good with design, you can make this as beautiful as you want. This is one design, right? For people to, so once you come to landing page, it takes you to menu. Now, for menu, you want people to be able to do three things. This attendance app does three things. So your menu shows all of that. Mentor, student, attendance. All right. So you can design this more. So just say, so depending on your design skill, this class is teaching you how to use Power Apps. You would learn as you go how to design. All right. Oh, you can design it. You can make it look however you want it to look. So, or I can just, since if we look at it, mentor is not one that that would be edited every time, but the core reason for this application is attendance, right? So we can make the attendance the first one and make it the biggest. Okay, so attendance is the first one and it's big. So I can just copy the size of this student. So look at the size here. It's 340 and the height is 280. The width, so for the size, we have width and height. So the width is 340. So I can just do the same thing for this one. 340. The height is 288. 340. The height is 288. Awesome. So we can do it like this, simple. And yes, so we can make this as simple as possible. This is attendance, this is student, this is mentor, but you will notice that this your app is still not doing anything. Now, let's get to it. Let us write PowerFX to link this landing page and our menu together. When somebody comes to our app, we want them to see landing page and we want them to move to menu. So the first thing we are going to do, I'm going to play this app and I will show it to you. So now, the next thing I'm going to do, to my landing page, I am going to insert another control called timer. So I don't want people to have to do so much. but I want the app to be as simple as possible for the user. You're not thinking about you who is developing, you're thinking about the user, the person who will use your application. So for the timer, on the landing page, I've put in a timer control. And remember that this class is recorded. So when you're watching it on YouTube, you can pause, you can rewind. All right. So now this is timer control. For the duration, we are just going to put 3,000. And you might ask, oh, why are you putting 3,000? It works based on milliseconds, right? So 3,000 milliseconds is 3,000 seconds. 3,000 milliseconds is 3 seconds, right? So I'm putting 3,000, right? That means that the duration for this particular timer is going to be 3 seconds, okay? Then we want it to auto start. Okay, so now you need to know the properties of a particular control before you are able to manipulate it. Now I'm using duration. I turn it to 3,000, right? If you over on it, you will see it says length of the timer in milliseconds, right? Milliseconds. So auto start is on, right? Immediately you come to this app, I want it to start counting. Now, the next thing that I am going to manipulate, and it's not even here, it's not on this particular properties pane, it is here in this particular one, which is on timer end. So once I come into this app, the timer will start counting. It will show me 3 seconds. I need to count down to 2 to 1 and it will end. When it ends, what do I want it to do? Which takes us to the first power effects that we are writing, which will be navigate. We want it to navigate, right? And this is how to write it. So navigate. You need to navigate to the next screen. So we want it to navigate us to the menu screen. So you just write the name of the screen you want it to navigate to. So if you have not changed your own screen and your own screen is saying screen 2, you will say navigate screen. So whatever name of the screen, what you have named it to be, would be what you'll put here, navigate menu. If I want to navigate from menu to landing page, I will put landing page when I'm writing the Power effects. All right. So here I'm saying navigate menu. And so first, let us play our app. 1, 2, 3, it will navigate to menu. See how simple that is? Let's look at it again. 1, 2, on the third one, it navigates to menu. All right. So, but when people come to my app, I don't want them to see this. So another property is what you're going to use to hide this, the visibility property of your timer. So what you're going to do, you will come to, you can come here, see visible, and you would switch it off. I'm going to put it on and I will use this particular place so that I can write the effects and you will see it. So the visibility property, so visible, is currently true. So you can just come here and write false. All right. And you can go to this place, the properties pane here, and you just switch it off. Okay. Works the same. So you have your attendance app. Let's see how it works. Attendance app takes them to the menu. So another thing that you can just do to make this more user friendly. Okay. So another thing you can do to make it more user-friendly is to tell them what this page is all about. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to insert and bring in a text label here. All right, I'm going to insert and bring in a text label here. And here I will just say, what would you like to do today? So what would you like to do? Of course, who are you talking to? You're talking to the users of your application. So once from the landing page they come here, they will say, what would you like to do? Would. All right, would you like to maybe would you like to fill the attendance sheet, add students, or add mentor? All right. So what you just do, remember how we manipulated the text on the landing page. So that's the same thing you would do. So for Canvas app, you can design it however you want, manipulate it however you want. Once you know the properties and you know the properties and you know the power effects, right? So let's make this faster. What would you like to do? Okay, so you can just make it. You can change the font weight however you want it to be. The font size also, I'll make it 35. No, that's too big. 25. Okay. So I can select all of this and move it as one. All right. And I can just place this one somewhere here. All right, what would you like to do? So it can get better than this. Okay, it can get better than this. Another thing that I can just do here is I can insert another control, which is the image control, right? Image. So right now it's not showing me, it's just showing me the sample image. One thing that I can do with this, I can make it round. All right, look at the Power App Studio. Can you see how this one is round? All right, so I can just make this also like this. So what will I do? For this particular control, we have something called border radius, and that's what you're going to use to make it round. So your width plus your height is 200. Divide by 2 is 100. So you can just make it, your border radius would be your width plus your height divided by 2. That's 100. You can see that this is round, but we don't have an image here. So what you're going to do is you would say user. So anybody signed in to this, their tenant, all their details is already there on this particular tenant. So you just say user. User is a function. So for user, you have image, you have email. So I can get the full name. This is Omolola, but Omolola is a text. The data type is of type text. It will not sit in an image. So I cannot put full name here. Instead, I can put image here. If I put image, can you see this is my image? The image that I've put here in this tenant. That's what you have here. All right. So you can always put it anywhere on the app. Another thing that you can do, which is, very lovely, is to call the name of the person and say, Omolola, what would you like to do? All right. So let's do something beautiful here. So this is our label, right? You can just say user, okay, dot full name. All right, user dot full name, and you append it. So it says, Omolola Alfred, what would you like to do? So we can just put space here. So if you put space here, it still will not work. So what you can do is to put space here. So Omolola Alfred, what would you like to do? And you might be thinking, Lola, how would I know all of this? Can I do it myself when I'm not watching this? Yes, I'm going to show you a way that you can actually know you can know properties and you can know some power effects, how to actually write it. I'm going to show us before the end of this class. So now you have Omolola Alfred, what would you like to do? Omolola Alfred, what would you like to do? You can, make this better than this. Let's just bring this here. Omolola Alfred, what would you like to do? All right. So would you like to go to attendance? Would you like to go to student? Would you like to go to mentor? But then we don't have screens that it will navigate us to. If they go to attendance, they go to student, or they go to mentor. So the next thing you will do is you will create pages, a page for attendance, a page for students, a page for mentor. You know how to do that already because we have already created landing page and menu. So let's quickly do that. New screen, blank screen, we'll create one for attendance. So rename it and say attendance. Then new screen again, you call it students. Rename students. Then you create another screen and you call it, you create another screen and you can call it mentors. Okay, mentors. So now you can already start thinking, how am I going to link it? The same way we linked this, but this time we'll not use a timer control. We'll come to the button and we'll go to the properties. Now there's a property called, so for the attendance, for this particular attendance button on your menu, we would go to on select property. On the select property, we are going to say navigate. All right, clear what you have there before. It says false. It means that it's not going anywhere. So now we say on select. When this button is selected, what should happen? You should be able to navigate to attendance. Attendance. It's as simple as that. So the next button is student button. On the on select property of the student button, I would put in navigate again. Okay. And I will put in students. So once as you go on and you continue building, you actually get better at this. Okay, mentor button, go to the on select property, manipulate it by saying navigate to what? To mentor. Awesome. So now, Alfred, what would you like to do? I would like to go to attendance. This is my attendance, but there's no way to come out of this yet. So now, let us quickly put things on our attendance. Remember our data that we created. We need to bring it into this application. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say add data. I'll go to SharePoint. And I can just select any one of it. So now you can see recent sites. Remember that the site was Omolola, and I can look for any of these. So first, I'll just quickly select. I have TechSellers student, I have TechSellers attendance lists. Do I have mentors? Yeah, mentors. Connect. So now I've connected the 3 that we created. Okay. The 3 that we created, I have them here now. So you might be wondering, okay, what's the next thing that we want to do? Remember, we have landing page, we have menu, we have attendance. We want people to be able to just put in their attendance, right? We also want people to be able to we want to have students, we want to have mentors, right? So one control, you need a control. You already know that here you need a control. So you go to insert and you go to form. You need a form control. So I'll just select the edit form. It's the control that I need. Now, the reason I added the data before coming to add my form is because every form, right, it needs a database. It means that first, I need my database is going to have all the details that the form is going to carry. All right. And when they put in their data inside the form, it has to sit somewhere. So it's going to sit in my database. If you already have your database, you can also use database here. But I'm showing us with SharePoint because we already know how to do a database. We should know how to use SharePoint also. So this is my attendance screen. I need the attendance SharePoint list. Okay. All right, so this is my attendance SharePoint list, and here you can already see all the things that I added. Attachments comes normally when you create any list. You will see attachment, but I'm not using attachment today, so I can just delete it. So I need, she's showing me my title. I don't need a title. I don't need a title column, so I'll delete it too. So for this, I just need full name and I need the date. So I can also manipulate this, right? Make it finer. What do? Come to column. I need one column. Okay. Or I can actually say, yeah, give me 2 columns. I'll make this smaller. All right, so hold on a sec. I want to move my form. Okay, so let's see. All right, so what I'm just doing now, I'm just moving, okay? But yeah, so I want to move this form. I can make it smaller. So I'm just going to design a little, make this smaller, make it wider right there. Okay, awesome. So I'm going to bring in text label so that when people come to this app, they know what this page is about. Attendance. So instead of you to have a sheet that they write attendance sheet, this is what you have. Attendance page. You can just say attendance. Yeah, you can say attendance page. All right, so you can make this better than this. Let's do 20. Make it bigger. Attendance, text alignment, middle. Yeah. So now we have attendance page. Remember, the color can be better than this. This is color white. You can use what I did the other time, RGBA, and just make it 244, 244, 244. 1. So I'm going to try to be faster so that we can move on. So now we have our attendance page. People can come in here, put in their full name and put in dates. Remember that I told us that you can manipulate this here. So I will teach us how to, so for this attendance page, I'm going to teach us how to manipulate all of these. And we'll do some manipulations on the student screen, on the mentor screen, but I'll also give us an assignment. All right. So this is the attendance page. Let's just quickly work on it. Now, for this particular form control, under form 1, so you can just rename this and say attendance form. Take away 1, just rename attendance form. If you have any question, put in the chat box. Let me know if you have any question at all, and I will just attend to it. So you have attendance form, and so for the attendance form, like I said, you can manipulate this. So each of these cards, they are locked by default. If I come here, I can come here and unlock it, right? Unlock it. I can come here and unlock this one to unlock. So once you've unlocked it, you can actually manipulate it. All right. So if you come to the advanced part of this, so select the whole thing, full name, and you come to advanced, you will see where you can actually manipulate it. So display name. So currently it's displaying what I have in my data source. So I can just take this away and say, just give me full name. See what I did? Full name. And that is what you have here. Date is fine. So the next thing you ought to have is another button. The reason we are using button is because button, you can select button. All right. So you bring in button again. So you notice that for this one, we use button to for our menu. We use button as the menu. But for this one, attendance, we'll just bring in a small button. We'll not make the button big, right? We can put the button somewhere here and change the name to submit. Now, controls are your building block. So you need to know what control you ought to use. So now you see your button. Okay, so for this one here, I will just rename it and I will call it submit button. Submit button. So when you want to manipulate, you will know what you're manipulating. That's why it's important for you to rename it. Okay, so now instead of button here, you can just come here to say, where is it? Submit button. You can come to your text under display. Instead of button, just come here and type submit button. Okay. So most times where you spend a lot of time is understanding what you want to do, how you want to do it, and if you have errors, you now start debugging, but it can be fast. All right. So now I have my attendance page, I have full name, I have date, and I have submit. So another beautiful thing that I want to be able to do is I want to see anything that I've submitted, right? So I'm going to introduce you now to another control. Okay, so you will do the same for other screens that you have. So the control is gallery control. I will just select vertical gallery, but there are different kinds of gallery. So if you type in gallery here, you will see vertical gallery, horizontal gallery, flexible gallery. There are different kinds of gallery. So I'm just going to select vertical gallery here. Now I have my vertical gallery and I would select my attendance lists, because what that means is that anytime you submit into attendance list, it will show us here. Okay, so this is your gallery. So you need to know how to arrange, and perhaps you need to know how to design. All right. And if you're working for a company that has designers, then good for you. Okay, so this is it here. I don't need this image. All I need here is my title, right? And I need my subtitle. Okay, awesome. So now we've connected it to Textiler's attendances. We don't have anything here. That's why it's blank. But let's do something. Now, I want to be able to play this app. It will tell me no item to submit. Why is it telling me that? Because my form is an edit form. What does edit form mean? From the name edit form, it means that there are data that you want to already edit, but we want to use this as a new form. New form means that I want to be able to use it to submit new forms, right? New items. I want to submit new items. So I will come to my form, and that's why it's good for you to rename all of this. I know the form that I'm working with, my attendance form, and I'll come to the default mode and I will say new, right? If I play this app now, it will be new. Can you see? But because is an edit form that I'm using, the normal default is edit form. When I submit this, it will go back to edit form. So on my submit screen, this is what I'm going to do. Number one, I need a Power Effects that will help me to be able to submit data to my database. Number two, I need to change it back to new form. So this is what I'm going to do. And remember, remind me for the link that you need to be able to see some of these things, and before you know it offhand, like I'm doing now. So on select, what do you need to put on your on select? You need to put submit form. It's as simple as that. Submit form. I want to be able to submit this form, so I'll put in submit form, right? So it will basically, why it's giving you red here is that you have an error to tell you, can you see invalid number? You need receive 0, expect 1. So submit form will take the name of the form that should be submitted, which is attendance form. I want to submit my attendance form. Okay, so now once you click on submit, it will submit whatever you have on this form. So on select, it will submit this. Now there's another property called on success of this form. So you have to select your form, attendance form. That's why you rename, so you know what you're manipulating. You select your attendance form and you go to on success. It means that once this form has been successfully submitted, what do I want to do? Two things. I want to turn this form. So I'll say new form, and I'll put the name of the form I want to change back to a new form. It is my attendance form. Remember, that's what we are working on. So anytime it's successful, it will turn this form back to what? A new form. So let us work with what we have right now. Let's go to our landing page. We'll play it. From attendance, we'll go to, after 3 seconds, it will take us here, menu. Alfred, what do you want to do? Attendance. So attendance page, full name. I will just select Omolola Alfred. So you can type it actually. I'll type in Omolola Alfred. For my dates, I would just select, so for attendance, I want to put in today's date as attendance, right? So another thing that you can do is, that people can always come here and put in another date. We don't want them to do that. So on this your form, one thing that you can have, so like I said, your Power Apps, your form, it depends on the knowledge of formulas and properties that you have. Okay, so default dates, by default, I want that it will always show me today's date. So if somebody comes here and they want to put in dates, right, they will not be able to put in dates. Okay, they would only be able to see today's date. All you need to come and do, put in your name and submit. It will show me the date that you are submitting. All right, so it will help that your data is not manipulated. Your data is as clean as possible. Now, because you have done this, you need to do more work. That's in that you need to disable this. What do I mean by disable? Right now, although it's showing you dates, but somebody can still come and change it. So you ensure that they are not able to type into this. They will just see the date and it will submit, and you will see it now. All right, so what I'm going to do is I am going to come here and look for the display mode of this particular column. So the date column, right? See, I'm not selecting the data card value. Data card value is what is taking that date, right? That's where you are typing. But what you need to talk to is that particular column. So you select data card 1, and I will just go to the display mode. I can also talk to this data card value anyways, but yeah, let's talk to data card value, any of it. But if you talk to this and I disable all of this, everything will be disabled. But what I really need to disable is the data card value. So I'll come here and I'll go to property. So you need to know the property you're working with, display property. So it's saying parent or display mode. I'll just take it away. Parent or display mode means use the display mode of the parent. The parent is the data card. You see that this data card value is inside your data card dates. So all you need to do is, instead of saying use the display mode of the parent, take it away and say display mode dot disabled. It means that they will not be able to type into it. But the caveat here is that when you say display mode dot disabled, anytime something is disabled, it has its own color. You can see that the color now has changed. So here there are so many things I can do here, right? Because I I'm not a beginner. I know exactly what to do. But because I'm teaching you, what I'm going to do here is I just need to change the color. I want it to be bold. Like I want people to, you see that if I play this now, this date, I can't see it very well. All right. So what I want to do, I'll select this again and I'll go to the disabled color. That is another property. So all you need to do, familiarize yourself with these properties. So anytime they disable, this is the color that they have set. So I'll just say color.black. So I want it to be black, color.black. So can you see, even though it's disabled, I can still see the color. So I can see my date in here. So all I need to do, play my app, and let's see this app in action. Okay, another thing I want to do here is, okay, so for my padding left, what does padding left means? It means that give space, give a little space inside whatever is written here, but because it's disabled. So now let me show you. This is a Power FX. You might not have seen this before. So this is a conditional statement, right? The idea of this is to show you what is possible. And I'm sure that looking at this, you already see that there are so many things that are actually possible. So I am going to comment this out. And I'm going to set this padding. So what this is saying, right? This is very readable. It means that if the display mode is edit, right? If it's currently on edit, this one is on edit. So it's saying that if this display mode is on edit, make the padding 5. If it is not edit, make the padding 0, right? And that is why you see that the date is starting from the first place. There's no space. So I'm going to comment this one out. And I will just put in 5 here. 5. It means that the padding will be 5, whether is on a disabled or edit mode. So now let's go back to the beginning and play it. Attendance application is to take you to this. If you select attendance, this is what you have. And from here, you can submit. So once I submit, can you see it has taken it back to, it has cleared it. This one will always show you the date of that particular day. All right. So you can see Omolola Alfred. If I come here in attendance and I say, let me see who is in the class. Let's see who is in the class. One sec. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. I can see questions already. Not to worry. I am going to answer all your questions, but I need people's name. So let me just get your name. So Kelvin. I have Kelvin. I have Mata. So I will just come here and say Mata. Submit. You can see Mata here. I'll come and say Kevin. Submit. We can see Kevin here. We can see Mata here. So anytime you submit anything, I want to be able to see what I've submitted. Another thing, let us also come to our list, right? And let's see attendance list. Can you see Omolola Alfred here? This is the date. Mata, this is the date. Kevin, this is the date. Everything is here. So this particular gallery control shows you, it displays to you what you have in your database. I'm so happy that you're asking questions. It means that you can actually, you're following me, all right? So there are so many things that I can still do to this application to make it better, all right? I'm going to take your questions, and I also want to ask you, what are the things you think I can do to make this particular page better? Okay, before that, let me just quickly make it. Let me do one more thing here. So for this particular gallery, so let's just say, let's rename it to be attendance gallery. so that you know that this one is for attendance, because you will do the same thing for you're currently on attendance page. You do the same thing for student and for mentors. Right? So that's why we are. So rename this to be attendance gallery. Okay. So I'm saving my app. My app is what I've been saving, right? I'm not saving the list. I know I'm saving my app. So attendance gallery. Yeah. So one of the things I want to do to this attendance gallery is that so for the title is telling me this item dot title. This item means for this particular item, I want to see, what do I want to see? You can only see things that you have on your list. So this item dots. In fact, if you take away the dot and you put dot, you will see the things that you have on your list. So we have full name. I want to see full name, right? So for the title, I want to see full name, but for the subtitle, I want to see dates. Okay, I want to see dates. Awesome. Look at it. You can see Omolola, you see the dates. You see Martha, you see the dates. Kevin, you see the dates. These are the dates that they have imputed. But there are other things I can do, right? So I'm going to answer our question. I'll ask us so that we can round up this class. We have students, we have mentors. Now, the same thing we did on attendance, we can do to students, we can do to the mentors. I won't help us do it. But there's still something that we need to put in this attendance. So let me take our question and let me ask us what we think that we can add. All right. So the first person that is asking a question here is, okay, let me see. Yes, so Microsoft Dataverse, thank you. Microsoft Dataverse is the only database that you can use for data for model-driven app, only Microsoft Dataverse. But for Canvas app, you can use Microsoft Dataverse, you can use SharePoint, like I'm using. You can use other bases too, all right? Microsoft Dataverse, thank you. Thank you so much. So thank you, Martha. Thank you, Emmanuel. Thank you, Eunice. I see that you have been following. All right. So here it says, I'm seeing this in my SharePoint site. Is it possible for me to use it, or should I create another site? Yes, you can use your communication site and you can decide to create another site. All right. So I did not cover that in this class because of our time. Imagine if I covered it. Normally we try to make the classes just 1 hour so that I don't bore you. All right. And if we are going to continue, you'll be the one to actually tell me if you want us to continue and wrap this up, or we should just end the class now. All right. So Eunice says, good morning, Ma. Can I use this for the training? I don't know what this is. Eunice, what is this? You can unmute your mic and talk to me. Is this a link?
Miss Lola.
Yes. Hi, Eunice.
Yes, ma. Ma, it's not a link. Ma, it's the communication site.
Yeah. Can you use this for the training? Yes, you can use this communication site. Yes, you can use this communication site for the training. So under the communication site, just go and create a list. All right?
Yes, ma'am. All right, ma. Thank you so much, ma.
Yeah, you're welcome. How to enable the properties pane on the screen, not able to see it or mind. What do you mean? Martha, please unmute your mic and talk to me.
Sure. Hi, I'm Lola. Thank you so much for the session. I am able to see the properties pane now after some time. So no longer a question. Thank you.
Awesome. I'm so excited. All right. Hi, Catherine. All right. Moving on to the next person, Deborah Abioye. Good morning.
Okay. Hello.
Hi, Catherine.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Go ahead. Good morning. I'm not sure when we did this app development, so I just wanted to find out. You mentioned something about app development. I missed it, I guess.
Yes, in developing applications. Were you here in the last class? Did you join?
Yes, I was.
All right. So for app development, we have two types of applications that you can develop using Power Platform. You can develop model-driven application and you can develop Power Apps, Canvas apps. So this is the first time I'm developing Canvas. This is the first time in this class that we are looking at Canvas app. So last week we looked at, so when I say app development, I could be talking about model-driven app or be talking about Canvas app. So for this one, this is Canvas.
Okay, now I get it. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. So you're asking questions and I'm answering. I have questions of my own. Okay. So so Catherine says, please let's continue. That's fine. That's fine. Good morning. So Deborah, are you here? Hello, Deborah. How come you did not have to save the attendance whilst you save others? No. So if you're talking about the database, I didn't save any of it, right? Once you create it, it's already saved. You can just add your columns and you go on. So is it possible for us to use the mentor and students for assignment? Exactly. That's actually what I want us to do, Zainab. So I have a question, right? I have a question for us. Now, who can tell me what else we need to add to this particular page? What else can we add to this page? What else do you think we can look at the page very well? What else do you think you can add to it? For instance, this is my attendance application, right? Attendance navigates me to where? To the menu page. This is my menu page. Amalola Alfred, what would you like to do? If I select attendance, this is it. But there's something else I need to add to this particular page. You can tell me what it is.
I think you need to add a return button that will take you back to the home screen, your home screen also.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm so excited. Thank you so much. All right. Yes. So I need to add a return button. I can add, so the same way I have button here and it's taking me to attendance form, right? I can put in another button and say, okay, take me back to menu, right? But another thing I can do. So another thing I want you to be able to do is when you're designing, you have applications that you use on your phone or on laptops and all of that. You can just use some of the design for your inspiration. For instance, right here on this Canvas App Studio, look at how they did their back, right? They use this image and they have some text with it. Okay, so if I don't want to do this, there's another thing I can do, right? So for this particular image, there's something called icon here. So these are your icons. I can just look for something that has maybe home, right? The image home, and put it there. So anytime you click on home, you can just go back. Another thing is I can also look for something, see arrow that says, this is one arrow that is pointing towards this, means you're going back. This is another arrow that you can use, right? But I want to use something that looks like home. Let's see if Power Apps has something like that for me. If not, look at it. This is home. Awesome. So I have home here. I can manipulate this also. Look at the icon. So I can just say rename and say menu icon, because I want it to take me back to the menu page, right? So I can just say menu icon. I can manipulate this and give it a color, right? So basically, we've not really changed color of the text. For instance, if let's assume that I'm building for maybe MTN and I want this page to speak to MTN, I can make this background a very mild yellow and make every other thing black, right? I can add some other touch and all of that to it. That means that all of this, you can actually manipulate every single thing that you're seeing here. This particular one, if you go to color, right? It has a color property. You can manipulate it, change it to black. You can change it to any color. All of this, you can change it. Border color, you can change it. So for this is blue and it's fine for, most of the colors that we're using here, right? This is Power Apps default color. So for this particular one, I want to navigate back to menu so that I can do other things. The same thing we've been doing, navigate. Just go to navigate and type in menu. So now, if I play this application, I can always come here. Look at it. Awesome. So we can submit, we can put in our name, submit, and you have it here. You'll be able to put in your attendance name, right? Your name for attendance. So now for students, what I want you to do for students is that when I click students, right? If I play my app and I click students, I also want to, so you add a form, all right? Let me do something for us here. So I'm going to insert a text label and I will tell us what I want us to do for this particular student's screen, okay? So this one is the student screen. So I'm going to list what I want us to do. I'm not going to build this student page. Okay. So now the things I want us to do here, I want us to first add a form. All right, I want us to add a form. The next thing I want us to be able to do, I want us to add a display gallery. You just go back to you go back to attendance and you say exactly what I did. Add a form so that you can add. So for instance, I have Martha, I have Kevin, I have so many people, I have Deborah, I have so many people on this, I have so many people in this class. If I want to create a student page, I need a form and I will add all your names, right? You add all your names, add a display to show gallery. So you see all the people that you have added, right? You add icon for return. Okay, so the icon will just return you to the menu. So add an icon for return to the menu. What else do we have on our attendance? Yes, then you need to submit. You need to submit your form. So on the student page, I want you to also be able to submit your form. Okay, add a form, add a button to submit form. So you add a button to add a form, add a button to submit form, add a display control, which is your gallery, add an icon for return. All right. So that means that when I come to menu and I go to student, I'll be able to add the list of students. When I go to mentor, I'll be able to add the list of mentors. So I want you to do the same thing also for your mentor. You know the mentors. I am one of the mentors. I'm leading this whole Power Apps training. I'm here. Carolina is here. Bolu Atife is also here. So those are the mentors. So for your attendance like this, when you go to your mentors and you have the form, you have mentors. Mentors is the only thing that you're putting in your form. So for your mentors, I want you to be able to add mentors. So you add Bolu Atife, you add Omolola, and you add Carolina, right? Oops. Okay. I hope I've not spelled anything. All right. So this is not even how it was before, but that's fine. It's my app. This can pass. All right. So you do the same thing for mentors. Mentors, just come here, type in their name, Omolola, submit it. You see Omolola there. Carolina, submit it. Bolu Atife, submit it. For attendance, you know what to do already. I want to see, so this is attendance, just replicate this. Then for students, I want to see the form, a button, and a display for control, and an icon to return. All right, are we all good? That means that once you come to your attendance application, takes you here, and you'll be able to put in attendance. You'll be able to see all the students for this particular attendance. You'll be able to see, for this particular class, all the students. You'll be able to see their mentor. So there are so many other things that we can do to this, but this is a beginner class, and I just want to make it as simple as possible, right? So do the same thing for mentor. Let me just copy this also, and let's put it here. So you can copy and paste. Remember to rename your controls. So I'm going to put it also as one thing I want us to do. Okay, so this one is mentor page. So I can just do this. Mentors can be one mentor. It can be several mentors. Mentors page, do the same thing. Don't forget to rename your controls. Rename your controls, please. Rename all control. All right, so let me know, should I do something else, or should we just wrap up the class so that I don't overload us with right? Should we go on? If you were to go on, I'll just probably do one thing or two things, and we are done. Let's see. Okay, so what if after submitting there's a mistake and you need to edit? How do I create that option? Let's see. Let me see other questions. Thank you for a great session. Okay, so hold on. For Zainab, I've answered this question. Yes, please use mentor and student as the assignments. So Martha says, I've been following and doing as you're teaching. As I have another engagement at the moment, I need to leave. All right, so just hold on, Martha. We will round up now. There's no need for you to just hold on. Let's round up. So what if after submitting there's a mistake and you need to edit? How do I create that option? This is a fantastic question, Deborah. A fantastic question. You need to add another button that will enable you to edit, and that is another assignment. I'm going to add it to our assignment. So YouTube is our friend, right? YouTube is our friend. I have a YouTube channel where I teach. I've not been teaching for a while because there are so many things that I've been doing, but I have some trainings on the YouTube channel that you can actually learn. Another thing is there are also other people that train Power Apps, and you can learn from them on YouTube. So if you go to YouTube, I'm going to add this that Deborah has said to our assignments. So I want you also to be able to edit. I don't want you to be able to delete, so don't put a delete icon, but I want you to be able to edit a submission. Right? Once you submit, how do you edit? Right? How do you edit? I'm going to give us how will I put it? I'm going to give us an idea on how to do that. So when I play the app, I'm unable to see the form. Is there a reason for that? Yes, there's a reason for that matter. And I think I covered it when I was teaching. You need to say, let's go, Ma. No, we'll not be able to go because other people have other engagements. And so, so to just wrap up, all right, to wrap up, I'm going to add some things for us to do. So, yes, I said rename all controls. I also said, so after this display, I want you to be able to edit submissions, right? I want you to be able to edit submissions. So check YouTube. It's an assignment. So add an icon for return. Yep. And this actually brings us to the end of the class. But one way that you can actually edit, you can have an edit icon right here. So if you go to Insert, Icons, there's a pencil icon. Right? There's a pencil icon that looks like you're writing. Look at it, edit. So if you bring this icon, you can put it inside your gallery. Okay, you can put it inside your gallery. If I click on, so this is my gallery, right? If I click on this particular edit, this pencil icon inside my gallery, I can insert now, go to my icons, right? And look for that pencil icon, select it. You will see it everywhere. So if you have 4 records here, you'll be able to see 4 pencils. If you have only 1 record, you'll see 1 pencil. If you have 3 records, you'll see 3 pencils, meaning that anything you type here, if you go to the unselect and you type anything here, it will work. If you select this one, it will work for it. If you select this one, it will work for it. If you select this one, it will work for it. So if you do this, go to YouTube and check how you can edit a record. If you select this, what should happen to your form? This name, it should come back to your form and you should be able to edit it. However, you will not be able to edit your date. Okay, you will not be able to edit your date because we don't want people to be able to cheat and say they came to the class yesterday when they did not come to the class yesterday, and that's why we did the default. All right, so thank you so much, Deborah, for your for the question. All right, so the last thing here is for us to save and share our app, right? So let me just quickly show you how to save and share your app. So I've already shown us how we can save our app, right? Click on this icon, it will save, and it will automatically saving for you it will be saving every 2 minutes. So you need to publish your app. For instance, if I come back to this app tomorrow and I want to edit it, if I publish this once, right? And I come back to this app tomorrow and I edit it and I don't publish, all the people that I've shared my app with, they'll be using the former version. Once I publish, so if I come in next week and I publish, everybody, I don't need to share it again with them. Why? Because I've shared it once. So when they go into their app, they will see the updated version automatically. All right. If they are using the app at the moment and you make an edit, right, and you publish it, they would see a notification that they are using an old version and they should refresh and they will have the new version just like that. But how do you now share? How do you share? Very simple. How do you share your application? Do you see what I did? I just clicked on this icon, share icon, and it will bring you here. And you'll be able to share with people in your tenant. So in this tenant, I have some people here. I have Oluwagbote Mikael, I have Toby. So I can share with Toby, right? And once I share with Toby, Toby will be able to use this application. But I can share with Toby either as a user or as a co-owner. We are done, but you can share with Toby either as a user. User means I want Toby to be able to use this application. If I share with him as a co-owner, it means that I want Toby to be able to use this application, but also edit the application. So Oluwatobi Yusuf is a developer, also a very strong developer. You can check him out also on LinkedIn. He's a very strong developer. So I can say, okay, I trust Toby. I'm sharing this app with Toby as a co-owner for him to use this app, edit this app, and share the app. But Toby cannot delete this app. Can you see? He can't delete this app because it wasn't the one that created it. And he cannot change the owner. I am the owner of the application. But I can make Toby a co-owner because I want Toby to maybe develop the application for me, right? So if you're living in an organization, you can just make another person a co-owner so that they will be able to edit the app and all of that. So once you click the share button, Toby will get an email invite, right? A notification with an invite for him to be able, so it will just tell him you now have this application. If you go to his Power Apps, you will be able to see this app because it has been shared with him, and that is just it. So if you share with people in your organization or any organization that employs you, they would be able to see this app and use the app. If there are other developers, if you have a team of developers, you can share with them as a co-owner. They will be able to edit the app. And this brings us to the end of the class. Remember, my name is Omolola Alfred, and I want you to keep in touch. On LinkedIn, my name is Omolola Alfred. I have a YouTube channel, Omolola Alfred, without the space. So thank you so much for coming to the class and for staying up until this point. So we have our attendance sheet already. Lara has dropped our attendance sheet. Please go on and fill in the attendance sheet. All right, fill in the attendance sheet. Let me see. Do I have any other question before we come to the end? My question is on the group project. How do we communicate with our group members to brainstorm? So you can actually chat with somebody on the app, and I mean the app that we are using for communication, right? On the Discord channel, you can chat with people. You can send messages to me also on the Discord channel. If you have a question, you can send to Carolina, you can send to Boulevard Fair, you can send to us on the Discord channel. If you have any question at all for us, we'll be there to answer you. We might not answer you as fast, right? Because everybody goes to work and all of that. But please send messages and we'll definitely answer you. Please, Ma, you're going to post today's class on YouTube, right? So today's class will be posted definitely on the Techstylers YouTube channel. I'm not sure if it will be posted today though, but it will be posted. Okay, so you can see link is also in the announcement channel on Discord app. Yes, so this link is also there, but since you attended the class, just click on this link and fill in. So Martha says, do the users also need permission to access SharePoint list? You can share with them the SharePoint list. If you share like this, you need to share the SharePoint list also. All right. Thank you to thank you very much, Deborah.
Lola.
Yes.
Hello, Lola.
Yeah, hi.
So thank you very much for your class. I've actually been anticipating for this class. I just joined today, though I've feeding my track since, but I can't tell why I wasn't following up. And joining today was quite interesting. However, I did going through the I think the first 3 class. Today is the 4th class, right?
Yes. Today is the 3rd class. The 3rd class, if I'm not wrong. Is it the 3rd or the 4th? It should be the 3rd, or sorry, it's the 4th class. We've had 3 classes. The first one I took, Carolina took 2 classes, and this is the 4th one. Yes, 4th class.
Okay, so I then going through them, and if there's any question or any put through I need, I don't know if you'll be available to assist me.
Yeah, so like I said, on the Discord channel, you can actually drop a message. You can drop messages on the Discord channel. We will definitely answer. You can send me a message on the Discord channel. I will answer you. You can send messages to. So if there are classes that Carolina taught, you can just drop a message on the Discord channel, general channel, and I can answer it. Carolina can answer it. Mentors can answer it. There are mentors there, and they will definitely answer it. All right.
All right. Thank you very much. But I still want to ask a question outside the scope. I don't know how strong my that. This is on SharePoint actually. So I came across something yesterday. A booking was created on SharePoint, and it wants to be deleted, but it can't be deleted. I don't know. Do you have an idea on that?
Yes. So SharePoint also has its own what's it called now? It has its own settings. So if you created something on SharePoint, you can actually delete it. Let me show you this. So look at it. I've created this, right? These are the things I've created. So this is Kevin. I can decide to just delete Kevin. Are you sure you want to send this item to recycle bin? Yep. Can you see? It's deleted. So it depends, right, on what you're saying. Like a record like this here, you wanted to delete it. So you need to check.
Actually, it was, booking is kind of calendar stuff, a kind of calendar schedule. Yes. So it was created on SharePoint, but it was under booking. So I don't know. I don't really have an idea of booking. That's why I'm kind of confused how it was.
I don't have the idea of booking also. But one thing you can do, number one, 2 things actually. Try checking YouTube or checking what's it called? Just type it online and see if there's any help. If there's none, type it on the channel, Discord channel. Somebody can just say, oh, come, let's share screen, and they could just quickly help you with it, right? Probably if I look at it, it's something I can help you with, but just type it on that channel and somebody can actually help you. Also, please check YouTube and check online so that you can get adequate resources for that. All right?
All right. Thank you very much. I will do just that. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Any other question? I think there's no other question. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining today's class. I'm going to stop recording now. We will see each other. So I might not be the one teaching us next class, but the next person teaching us next class is also an amazing mentor. You would learn how to automate these processes. So ensure you finish your assignments so that when you come, you just learn how to automate. So when I go ahead and once I go ahead and I just type in attendance, what should happen? Somebody should get notified, right? All of that. You would be taught next class. Okay, so do well to come next class, and it's going to be amazing. All right, so I'm told to drop the assignment again. I did not paste the assignment anywhere. So this is the assignment. So if you can just do a screenshot, you can just quickly do a screenshot of this. All right, this is the assignment. Add the form. Let me just make this bigger. So this is the assignment. You are to add a form, right? I want you to create something like this, attendance page. So do it for student, add a form, add a button to submit form, add a display control, edit submission, rename all controls, add icon for return. Do the same thing for mentors. All right, the mentor screen, the student screen. So quickly screenshot this and screenshot it. Do the same for student, do the same for mentors, and that is your assignment. So come next class, we will start automating processes. Thank you so much, everybody.
Yeah, sorry, please. Is it possible to get a link to your YouTube channel? You mentioned
yes, so
about
just go to YouTube channel and type in Omolola Alfred. You see me there. Omolola Alfred, no space. Omolola Alfred.
All right, thanks.
You are welcome. Thank you so much, Emmanuel. Who else? Kevin. Yeah, you have the assignment already. Please screenshot. Zainab says, how do we collaborate with our mentor regarding our project? So send a message on the Discord channel. Send a message on the Discord channel, please. Thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you again next week with your mentor, Buluwatfe. Thank you, everybody. See you next week. Bye.